Keiya Uto is a representative of a powerful Yakuza family, and at the same time, he serves as the personal bodyguard of the boss's granddaughter, Senagaki Isaku. Keiya is actually a kind and deeply attentive protector, but from Isaku's point of view, the way he guards her feels suffocating. For almost 24 hours a day, Keiya is always by her side. Aside from bathing and sleeping, his role in her life already feels like a father, an older brother, a caretaker, and everything in between. Keiya himself is stuck in an awkward position. He cannot refuse the assignment because the order comes directly from his boss, who also happens to be Isaku's grandfather. Disobeying a Yakuza boss is the same as risking his life. Still, Mr. Senagaki's intentions are sincere. He simply wants to keep his only granddaughter safe from enemies. Isaku's parents died in a car accident when she was still a baby, so his excessive protection feels justified in his eyes. But now, Isaku wants just one thing. She has been accepted into an elite high school in Tokyo and wants to live like a normal teenager. She no longer wants a flashy personal bodyguard following her everywhere. She wants friends who are not afraid of her, a typical high school life, and maybe even the chance to fall in love with an ordinary boy. Above all else, Isaku wants her identity as a Yakuza boss's granddaughter to remain a secret. On her first day of school, Isaku is filled with excitement as she imagines a relaxed and carefree high school life. That dream shatters almost immediately. Just after entering the classroom, she accidentally bumps into another student and nearly falls. Someone quickly catches her, and to her shock, it is Keiya. Isaku freezes, stunned to see her bodyguard at school. Her suspicion is confirmed when she realizes Keiya has disguised himself as a student just to keep guarding her. Her quiet school life never stood a chance. This is a girl and her guard dog. At 26 years old, Keiya feels nothing strange about sitting in a high school classroom. To him, learning has no age limit, especially when he believes every male student around Isaku is a potential threat. At first, Isaku thinks this must be a nightmare, but reality proves otherwise. Keiya really is attending school with her. He even goes overboard with small things like preparing her lunch. He stays close to her at all times, even blocking 2 male students who try to introduce themselves. His overprotective behavior only frustrates Isaku more. For nearly 2 days, she feels lonely and discouraged because she has not made a single friend, while Keiya easily attracts attention. His looks and calm presence make him instantly popular with the girls. Isaku finally understands why during gym class, when she sees how skilled Keiya is at basketball. Watching him, she starts to think that maybe joining sports could help her make friends too. Unfortunately, after just 1 hour of volleyball practice, Isaku struggles badly with passing the ball. After school, she trains on her own at home with help from the household staff. Being inexperienced, she falls repeatedly and ends up covered in bruises. Strangely enough, those injuries become the reason her classmates start approaching her. They admire her determination and effort to help the team win. In the next match, Isaku's hard work begins to pay off and she grows closer to her teammates. Just as victory seems within reach, a sharp pain shoots through her hand. Even so, she pushes through and manages to secure the win for her team. The celebration is short-lived, as Keiya immediately rushes her to the infirmary. In that moment, it becomes clear that beneath his annoying behavior, Keiya truly cares about Isaku. Keiya has always cared, but Isaku rarely notices because she is already irritated with him. Keiya is genuinely happy to see Isaku finally making friends, though deep down he worries she might forget about him. Isaku reassures him that will never happen. In fact, his quiet support is what motivates her to keep exercising. For Isaku, they can still be friends outside of school. After 1 month at school, Isaku grows noticeably happier. She manages to join the student council, hoping to expand her circle of friends, or maybe even meet the kind of boy she has always dreamed of. It is right then that an unexpected figure enters her life. A cool and confident boy who becomes the starting point of new conflicts and emotions in Isaku's high school days. Without hesitation, a boy named Masato introduces himself as the student council president and expresses his desire to befriend Isaku. Once again, Keiya steps in and firmly shuts it down, making it clear that no man is allowed to get close to Isaku, whom he openly calls his best friend. That intervention only makes Isaku even more irritated. When she gets home, Isaku finally lets out all her frustration. She cannot understand why Keiya is always so overprotective. She even declares that even if Keiya were the last man on Earth, she would never choose him. Isaku knows very well that being a Yakuza is neither a safe nor a comfortable life. Because of that, she asks Keiya to stop interfering in her personal choices. That night, Isaku decides to go out for karaoke with Masato without Keiya accompanying her, convinced that she can take care of herself. For the first time, she feels free being outside without Keiya's constant presence. She feels entitled to make her own decisions. However, as she observes the behavior of Masato's friends, a sense of unease begins to creep in. The freedom they show is not the kind of freedom she wants. Isaku finally realizes that she has been lured into a trap by Masato, who has hidden intentions. Just as Isaku is about to be harmed, her bodyguard arrives in time. Keiya appears and immediately protects her. Without being asked, he makes sure no one dares report what happened, warning them that their fate would be grim if they ever tried anything against Isaku. Inside the car, Keiya keeps checking on her condition while holding her tightly. He feels guilty, afraid that he might have arrived too late. Fortunately, Isaku is still safe. After that incident, Keiya is forced to set new rules. Any man who wants to get close to Isaku must do so with his knowledge. He refuses to let any disrespectful man lay a hand on her again. Hearing this, Isaku unexpectedly feels relieved and treated with great care. For the first time, she begins to believe that Keiya may not be as bad as she once thought. Another problem soon arises at school. Keiya may be intimidating when it comes to fighting, but academically his grades are terrible. Isaku becomes angry and reminds him that his duty is not only to protect her. If Keiya wants to stay by her side, he must take his studies seriously or return to the Yakuza world. Not wanting to lose his time with Isaku, Keiya decides to start learning from scratch. Even though he only graduated from middle school, he believes he can improve if he works as hard as Isaku does. While studying at the library, two of Isaku's friends look down on Keiya. They question why Isaku would study with someone they consider foolish and worry that her grades might drop. Isaku immediately defends Keiya, saying that he simply deserves the same opportunity as anyone else. Being underestimated does not make Keiya give up. He becomes determined to prove that someone like him can still have a future. Day after day, he studies from morning until night to improve his scores. When exam results are finally announced, his grades steadily rise, and he is no longer falling behind. Even Isaku is surprised by how quickly he improves. With his grades finally better, Keiya asks for one request. He wants to take Isaku to his favorite place from childhood. He still remembers everything she likes, including the zoo. There, he accompanies Isaku as they walk around, showing that he is willing to do anything for her happiness. The atmosphere suddenly turns awkward when Keiya moves closer to her. Feeling nervous, Isaku runs away from him, and at that very moment, a mysterious man appears and fires a shot at Keiya. Fortunately, Keiya survives and manages to subdue the attacker. The next day, Keiya is summoned by Mr. Senagaki after a client complains about his work, frustrated by how often Keiya has been absent. Keiya honestly apologizes and explains that his priority has been protecting Isaku. Unexpectedly, Isaku steps in as well and apologizes, feeling that she is the reason Keiya has been putting his duties aside. In that moment, one of Mr. Senagaki's associates introduces his grandson, Mikio, who is the same age as Isaku. As Isaku prepares to leave, Mikio behaves rudely by grabbing her without permission. Keiya quickly steps in to protect her, but Mikio threatens to report him to his own grandfather. The threat means nothing to Keiya. Instead, he warns Mikio to stay away if he values his life. The problem does not end there. The following day, Mikio suddenly appears at Isaku's school. He wants to prove that he has just as much right to approach her. Using the threat of exposing her identity, Mikio pressures Isaku into spending time with him. He openly looks down on Keiya, seeing him as a Yakuza, unworthy of standing beside Isaku, and becomes determined to take her away. Meanwhile, Isaku starts to realize that the high school life she dreamed of is far more complicated than she ever imagined. Now, she also has to deal with Mikio, a new problem that weighs heavily on her days. Not long after, Isaku's two close friends, Yuki and Yuma, suddenly invite her to hang out together. At a cafe, they notice Isaku smiling more brightly than usual, something they rarely see. In their eyes, Isaku almost never truly smiles when she is around Keiya. Even so, if they had to choose, they would still rather see Isaku with Keiya than with an arrogant guy like Mikio. The question they have been holding back finally comes out. They ask whether Isaku has feelings for Keiya. With her head lowered, Isaku quietly admits it. Still, her emotions remain confusing. She is afraid that her feelings might be one-sided. On top of that, she once saw Kaya spending time alone with a woman named Kaori. Instead of fueling her worries, her friends comfort her. They believe Isaku is far better than that woman, and even promise to help her win Kaya's heart. Their plan turns out to be connected to the upcoming semester class meeting. Without Isaku knowing, Yuki and Yuma propose performing a Romeo and Juliet play, hoping it will bring Isaku and Kaya closer. Once again, Mikio refuses to stay out of it. He cannot accept Isaku being paired with someone he considers foolish like Kaya. Chaos follows and the original plan starts to fall apart. Even so, Isaku decides to go along with it, seeing it as nothing more than a school play. Soon after, rehearsals begin. Isaku is surprised by how difficult memorizing the script turns out to be. In contrast, Mikio appears naturally talented in the role of Romeo, as if he has been waiting for the chance to be paired with Isaku. During practice, however, Isaku begins to notice something. Kaya clearly does not want Mikio to take the role, repeatedly acting as if he wants to stop the play altogether. In that moment, Kaya finally reveals his true feelings. He wants to know whether Isaku likes Mikio and asks her to reconsider her choice. He insists that there is someone far better than Mikio, and that person is standing right in front of her. For the first time, Kaya admits that he has liked Isaku for a long time, but until now he never had the chance to show it. Isaku feels relieved and happy after hearing Kaya's confession, but she still needs to confirm one thing. She eventually learns that the woman she once saw with Kaya was not his girlfriend, but his former lover. With that truth revealed, Isaku finally places her full trust in Kaya, while Kaya begins to realize that their feelings may truly be mutual. Isaku becomes convinced that Kaya is the best man for her, someone who will always protect her, including from Mikio, who never stops causing trouble in her life. Even though Isaku is not paired with Kaya in the school play, she remains grateful to her two friends. Without their idea, Kaya might never have felt jealous enough to confess his feelings. Isaku also now knows the truth about that woman. However, that happiness does not last long. Unexpectedly, Isaku witnesses something that completely breaks her heart. She sees Kaya alone with another girl behind the school. That sight makes her feel betrayed. For Isaku, once trust is broken, it is not easily repaired. She refuses to listen to any explanation. Even when Kaya offers to walk her home, Isaku chooses to continue drama practice with Mikio instead, as if trying to repay the pain she feels. Isaku's sudden change in attitude immediately angers Yuki and Yuma. They direct their frustration toward Kaya, questioning his responsibility as a man. Kaya understands their anger and realizes that everything stems from a misunderstanding. He has no feelings for that girl and would never do what Isaku suspects. In reality, the girl confessed her feelings to him, but Kaya rejected her because his heart belongs to Isaku. Unfortunately, Isaku has already seen enough to draw the wrong conclusion. The situation grows even worse when Kaya realizes that Isaku has not returned home as she normally does. She gives no notice, something that has never happened before. Kaya's fears are confirmed when he discovers that Mikio has deliberately kidnapped Isaku. Thankfully, Kaya manages to track her location through the GPS on her phone. That is when the full truth comes to light. Mikio is not just a troubled student. He is a pawn of a rival Yakuza family opposing Mr. Senagaki. Everything that has happened is not merely teenage jealousy or romance, but part of a larger scheme. Mikio and his family plan to destroy the Senagaki Yakuza business by separating Kaya from Isaku, the heir to a fortune worth billions of yen. Kaya finally realizes that the shooting he survived after the zoo visit, along with the girl deliberately placed near him to spark Isaku's jealousy, were all pieces of Mikio's plan. Everything was done to bring down the Senagaki family and seize their power. If Mikio succeeded, his family would rise as the strongest Yakuza clan in Japan. To Mikio, Isaku was never more than a tool to achieve that goal. When Mikio attempts to humiliate Isaku by force, Kaya tries to fight back. Mikio quickly orders his men to attack, laughing as Kaya is beaten and appears helpless. Mikio mocks Kaya, questioning the title of the strongest Yakuza he is known for, while also ridiculing Isaku as someone who can do nothing without her foolish bodyguard. But as Mikio continues to demean Isaku, that is when Isaku urges Kaya to show who he truly is. Kaya finally stops holding back. He is fed up with the dirty games of Mikio and his family. With swift and powerful moves, Keiya launches his counterattack and defeats all of Mikio's men. After saving Isaku, Keiya becomes determined to put an end to everything, not just Mikio's remaining followers, but Mikio and his entire family as well. As soon as Isaku realizes what Keiya intends to do, she immediately stops him. She reminds Keiya that if the police were to find too many victims, their lives would never return to normal, and they would no longer be able to continue their schooling. After all, Keiya has already promised to change for her. Not wanting to disappoint Isaku, Keiya pulls back and spares Mikio's life. Still, Mikio does not escape consequences. Before being taken away, his men are beaten and subdued, ensuring that Isaku can return home safely. Before leaving the scene, Keiya reports the entire incident to the police. He also calls Mikio's grandfather and warns him never to touch or approach Isaku or her family again. If that warning is ever ignored, Mikio would not return safely, and Keiya would not hesitate to wipe out their entire family. Even though Keiya is a Yakuza, once everything is over, he chooses to change. He wants to become an ordinary man for Isaku, someone who no longer makes her feel afraid or uneasy, and someone who will always stay by her side to protect her and make her happy. Sometime later, Keiya makes a major decision. He chooses to replace Mikio as the actor playing Romeo in the school drama. For Keiya, this is not a small matter. It is proof of his determination to always stand beside Isaku, wherever and for however long it takes. On the day of the performance, Isaku finally meets Kaori, Keiya's former lover. After holding on to that anxiety for so long, Isaku feels relieved, hearing directly that their relationship truly ended and left nothing behind. Keiya admits that before Isaku grew up, he once dated Kaori and was close to her. But the moment he realized that his heart fully belonged to Isaku, he chose to end that relationship. By doing so, Keiya is finally able to move forward, stay by Isaku's side without lies, and begin a completely new future with her. After seeing for herself how deeply Keiya truly cares for Isaku, Kaori comes to understand that his heart belongs to Isaku alone. Because of that, Isaku no longer needs to feel anxious. In fact, Kaori happily offers her support all the way to their future together. She only reminds Isaku to love Keiya for who he is, without constantly seeing him as a Yakuza. In her view, that is how happiness will eventually find them both. Isaku's heart grows much lighter. The terror caused by Mikio is gone, as is the shadow of Keiya's past relationship that once troubled her. Yet, as she grows closer to Keiya, Isaku begins to feel unexpectedly nervous. Her heart races uncontrollably and she struggles to calm herself. Instead of feeling at ease, she becomes overwhelmed and overthinks whenever she is near him. That awkward tension ends up making the stage performance extraordinary. Their acting captivates everyone watching. Isaku's friends are amazed by the clear chemistry between the two of them. It feels as if Romeo and Juliet have truly come to life on stage.
唇にも
Yuki and Yuma become even more convinced that Keiya is the only man capable of protecting Isaku, someone who loves her sincerely and without conditions. As Isaku is about to return to class, she unexpectedly runs into Mikio, who has come to school to finalize his transfer. He makes it clear that this will be the last day anyone sees him there. Mikio also reveals that he has been punished by his grandfather for the failure of their plan. Even so, he issues a final warning to Isaku. As long as she insists on keeping Keiya by her side, danger will never truly leave her. In doing so, Mikio tries to remind her once more of Keiya's identity as a Yakuza, someone constantly surrounded by risk and violence. Unexpectedly, Mikio's words only bring clarity to Isaku's heart. All of her doubts finally fade away. She becomes certain that Keiya is the only man she wants. It is true that Isaku once feared the idea of living alongside a Yakuza. She even swore she would never walk beside a man tied to a dangerous world. But as time passes, as she grows older, and as she faces countless threats and hardships together with Keiya, Isaku comes to understand something important. The Yakuza she once tried to avoid is the very man who has sacrificed so much for her. Someone willing to risk his life and his entire future just to protect Isaku. At this point, Isaku also realizes that her dreams have changed. If she can no longer live a completely normal high school life, it no longer matters to her. Even if everyone were to learn her true identity as the granddaughter of a Yakuza boss, she would not mind. In the end, she chooses to love Keiya exactly as he is. Isaku finally understands that she wants to stay by Keiya's side, no matter the circumstances and for as long as life allows. The story ends with Isaku finally confessing her feelings to Keiya. She does not expect an immediate response, but to her surprise, Keiya holds her tightly and returns those feelings. He leans in and kisses Isaku, and from that moment on, they officially begin their relationship. So the moral of the story is, if a Yakuza bodyguard follows you to high school and still studies for exams, that is love, not a security problem.